Well, well, well. If it ain't the fare evasion enforcement gang, known as the Septa police. Hey, let me ask the general public a question. I see that in recent times, in recent weeks, that they've been up there standing at the turnstiles to make sure people don't sneak through. But what about down here? What about on the actual platform where you see dope fiends leaned out, all doped out, smoking, all knotted out, people smoking weed, people doing all manner of things down here on the platform? Yeah, why don't y'all walk down the stairs and actually see what's going on the platform? Even better, why don't y'all enter through the doors of that big metal thing with wheels that runs on electricity and a traction motor called a train? Why don't you actually go on there and stand on that little moving thing that we ride on, where you see more of the smoking, the drug usage, the people knotted out, the dope fiends falling all over you while you're trying to sit down and enjoy a nice, uncomfortable ride to your destination? How come I don't ever see y'all on there? Why is it I hardly ever see a Septa police officer actually on the train when all the real dirt goes on? Didn't someone just get pew-pewed on the train?
I'm Caroline Goggin with your Action News update. And here are some of the big stories we are following for you right now. We are following some breaking news. Police are searching for the suspect who shot a man on the Septa train in Center City, Philadelphia. Detectives say the victim was found shot in the stomach on the Market Frankford L train. The victim is now in stable condition. It happened around 1:30 this afternoon. And right now there is no word on what led up to the shooting. And the search for the suspect is currently underway.
On the platform? It didn't happen while they were trying to get through the turnstile, paying their fare, like most honest people do. That stuff usually happens on the platform, past the point of sale. That's what I'm noticing with Septa police. They only stand at the point of sale to make sure nobody gets through for fare evasion. But at the same time, those same fiends and smokers and whatnot somehow pass that and get downstairs on the platform, on the trains, where you see said activity. I was riding home one day and noticed there were, and I counted them, there were 7 people that were all sitting on the bench at 34th Street Station, nodded completely out, literally all over each other.
7.
Like a bunch of cockroaches fighting over a sandwich, just all over each other. And I'm like, where's the Septa police now? You know where they were? Standing up there at the turnstile, flirting with the damn cashier. Come on, y'all. But nobody's ready for that conversation. All they want to talk about is fare enforcement and fare evasion, making sure people pay the transit system. Why don't you protect your citizens that ride the damn system first before you worry about fare evasion? Someone just got shot on your Septa system, and I don't hear nobody taking them to task for that. But y'all not ready to have that conversation. Y'all not ready to have a conversation regarding the people that are constantly fighting and the people that suffer from mental illness that are allowed to walk through the train cars yelling and screaming at passengers, screaming at kids, screaming at older folk, knocking people over, storming through train cars, storming through the platform, scaring honest, decent people that are just trying to get to their destination. Y'all not ready to tackle that problem. Y'all just want to enforce the fare, and make people pay their fare, which is okay. Your system's broke. We get it. Y'all just spent $15-20 million on a bunch of new trains.
Septa is getting brand new subway cars. For those who live in Philadelphia, you may know that the Septa cars on the Market Frankford line are old, grimy, and kind of breaking down at this point. So to modernize the Market Frankford line, Septa has ordered 200 new Metro cars from Hitachi. They're going to be incredibly modern with a lot of the other amenities that modern subways have, like LED update screens on what station's coming next. And they're also going to be open gangway trains, which means that you can walk between all the cars on board the train. Now, don't expect these anytime soon. Hitachi is kind of on back order right now. The first of these are expected to be delivered in 2029, so about 5 years from now, and they'll have that full order delivered by 2031. But regardless, this is a long time coming, and it's going to be really nice to see these modern trains running on the Market Frankfurt.
Y'all just spent all this money on a whole revamp of your Septa scheduling system, but I don't hear no targeted money being put towards adding more Septa police officers, doing all this stuff. Yeah, y'all did y'all little thing by adding more cameras. There's cameras all over the Septa system, but I don't see no cops. You think the people that are sneaking through and smoking and doing all this devious stuff on your transit system give a shit about them cameras? They don't care, because they know they're going to get away with it, because by the time anyone even does respond, they long gone. They can hop a train and go to any station they want to. That's the Broad Street line, that's the Market Frankfurt L. Let's include the trolleys and buses, because most of these people do they dirt and they just cool with it. Overnight in your transit system, you know what's happening here? People are getting on these buses and nodding the hell out, and ain't nobody saying nothing, falling all over passengers, leaning, doing all type of stuff, and no one says anything. You got homeless people all over. I forgot to include that. What about the homeless population that are always on your transit system, making forts and tents out of seats, taking pieces of sheets and whatever and just putting them over the seats and just chilling? Like, what the hell, Septa?
Doors are opening. 69th Street train will not stop.
I mean, are we going to address this? Are we actually going to address this problem of the homeless population that have absolutely taken over your transit agency? I don't see there being any concerted effort to tackle this issue. And don't dare ask them to move. Oh, hell no. They're ready to fight you. They ready to poke you. They ready to just go all out to protect the damn seat. A metal and plastic seat is worth them losing their freedom over than actually getting up and moving along or going to a homeless shelter or something. And it's sad. It's really sad. And I don't see anybody from 1234 Market Street doing a damn thing about it. They just content to just let it ride. They just okay as long as they're enforcing the fares, enforcing their fare evasion campaign. It's a big old campaign that they have right now to enforce fare evasion, with fines up to $300 and increasing more with every subsequent violation. Are you kidding? Are you seriously kidding me that, at least from the outsider's perspective, from the outside looking in, it seems as though they're more concerned about the fare evasion tactic than actually tackling the issue that is plaguing their Septa system. Let me tell you something. If I'm Philly Transit Agency, I am embarrassed by having this issue that's going on right now, especially considering there's a really big event happening within the city called the World Cup, where you have hundreds of thousands of people descending upon your city to watch soccer teams from around the world that they don't necessarily get to see in person, that they have to watch from home, that are coming into your city to compete for this worldwide soccer tournament that feature teams from around the globe. And of course, the only way they're going to get there is through Septa. So if they're coming from various parts of the city to watch this World Cup, could you imagine? Because of course you encourage them to take public transportation. I mean, there was a gigantic campaign for them to encourage people to take Septa, trying to pour that money into the Septa system. Could you imagine walking into 13th Street and seeing 8-9 homeless people all crowded on the stairs, trying to huddle up, trying to, get what they're gonna get? I can't really say too much about what they'd be doing, but you can imagine what addicts are doing in the subway stairs at any time of the day. And it just seems as though you don't see Septa police in sight. Now, one Septa police officer, now Philly police in sight. They are just allowed to just congregate, do what they do, and they don't have no shame. Absolutely no shame. You got people, 5 or 6 people walking down the steps with kids, and they are subject to seeing this type of stuff, and no one says anything. No one does anything. It's just par for the course. If I were Septa management, I'd be embarrassed by the amount of videos that are floating around right now. You go on these different social media websites and people are actively recording these people in the stairway while someone with a Spain shirt or a group of families walking around with different uniform shirts from these soccer teams are having to step over them. Wouldn't you be embarrassed? If you were in Septa management, ask yourself this question. If you were in Septa management in charge of promotion and marketing, would you want to have a father explain to their children why these people are in the subway where you're supposed to be safe? Having to step over drug fiends and over needles and pipes and all this stuff. How would you feel having to explain this to your child when they ask the ultimate question? Daddy, what's that? Mommy, what's that? Mommy, Daddy, why is this person in the stairway? You ain't gonna want a lot of these kids. You're gonna want to tell them what's going on, right? So imagine having it be your transit system that this stuff is happening on and there's nothing going on to fix it. But of course, you got 8, 9 police officers at one station standing there watching people go through the turnstile with hawk eyes, looking to see if they jump the turnstile or go through the wheelchair access, just to make sure that you're getting that little $2.90. And while we're on the subject, y'all want to know why people don't want to pay to be on the Septa system? You wonder why they even have to do the fare enforcement in the first place? Number one, over the last several years, they have increased the fare. I remember at one time, it used to cost you $1.60 to ride the train, to get on the bus. You used to have these little Septa tokens you could just drop right in the little machine, and then you go on your merry way. You used to be able to get, I think it was for $2, you would be able to get the one fare and a pass. So you could get essentially 2 buses to go one way, depending on if your route intersects. Now it done jumped up to damn near $3. And then Septa got slick. I'm gonna tell you what they did. They came up with this key pass thing and basically said there's no more tokens, no more pass. So essentially, depending on your situation, if you don't have this key card thing, when you tap your phone, because everything's technological and all that, you're essentially paying $2 per ride. So it's $2.90 for one bus. And God forbid you have to go get another bus, it's another $2.90. Septa is trying to suck the money out of you one way or another. And you know what the part that actually kills me? It's the fact that this $2.90 that they are insisting on us paying, for that $2.90, I should be able to get on the subway, get on the Market Frankfurt L, get on a bus, get on a trolley, and feel safe enough to where I can sit back and relax and enjoy my ride. But instead, you know what I gotta deal with? I gotta deal with stuff like this.
I'm on my way home. And the thing that fucked me up about being on a train and shit, why do people with the big ass speakers always play the dumbest music? Like, nobody wants to hear this shit. Like there's always somebody with a speaker playing some bullshit. What made a law give motherfuckers with horrible music to his big ass speakers? This shit the dumbest shit ever.
cannot. I'm so sorry.
I cannot sit on this fucking
Please,
trolley
I'm sorry.
here. I cannot. I gotta get off.
Huh?
Hey, what's up? What they touch something? We stuck like something.
Oh my fucking god, shut up. Stop saying it. Like, what the fuck?
Stuck on the side.
Hey.
Right now.
I gotta get off of here. I'm freaking out. I'm having.
Y'all still don't keep them clean. Y'all still don't come on time.
You got the people who you use the drugs on there. They sleeping on the train. You can't even get a seat. You don't even want to sit down.
To many people taking Septa, a 50-cent fare hike isn't justified.
$2.50. The key cards is enough. You gotta pay for the key cards. Then your key cards don't work.
The baseline price for Septa buses and metros went up to $2.50. Before this increase, key card holders had been paying $2. But last month, Septa's board approved a 7.5% fare increase, which went into effect on Sunday, December 1st. Regional rail prices, they also went up, varying by zone, ranging from 25 to 75 cents.
I think makes sense because everybody can work with this.
You say like you think it's a reasonable price.
Right.
It's only going to cause more people, hopping the turnstiles and not wanting to pay, instead of what they think is going to happen where they're making more money.
That's a concern for many riders, that they'll pay more while others won't pay at all. Throughout the afternoon, we saw a number of people step through, under, and over the turnstiles without paying.
I watched the lady the other day while I was up 692. She pushed her way right on through. Right. So we paying for this here, for them to put all of this here stuff up. It don't.
And meanwhile, while they're having to increase fares while going through all of the stuff that was just previously detailed, you know what Septa police are doing?
So in Philly, right, our cops stop fare evasion. That's what they do. Look at this, watch this. So they stand right here, right? You see? You guys can see right here. You look. See how I'm trying? That's how they get you. He gonna get a ticket if they was up here, but they ain't up here. Isn't that crazy? That's some wild shit, fare evasion. Pay your fare.
Now, I want to just throw this in here because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I am all for paying your fare. If you are working, you should be able to pay your fare, because I was always taught you can't get nowhere for free. Ain't no such thing as a free ride. You ain't about to just hop on a train for free and not have to pay something. You just can't do that in today's society. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where we have one of the highest fare rates as far as public transportation in the country. We are probably higher than New York City. And I go there frequently and take their transit system. And theirs isn't even $2.90 daggone cents. But I'm going to say this. At least with New York transit system, you ain't hopping them turnstiles. They made it almost near impossible for you to jump them turnstiles. Septa still has a ways to go because they have wheelchair access. They have different gates than the regular turnstiles. They're like almost like a Lexan plastic now, where you can see through it. It's got the visible handicap markings. But the problem is you could just simply push right through them. You're not pushing through New York turnstiles. And in New York, they have so many transit cops that you're not getting by. You're going to get caught and you're going to pay a very hefty fine. In Philly, same deal. They don't have as many transit cops, I believe, but they still have people on the platform enforcing the fare. The problem is in New York, you can get on a train and be sitting about maybe 5 feet from a transit cop. You could be sitting 5 or 6 feet from an NYPD cop too. You might be sitting next to somebody from Homeland Security. Do you ever see that in Philly? Nope. Do you ever see that in the suburbs? Nope. Those people pay their fare. Those people get on and, tap your little key card and go on your way. Would I love to see Septa police on the buses? Yep. Because they will prevent all the violence and all this nonsense from happening, we have had several, and I mean several, shootings on public buses and trains over the last year. I can't recall a time where this has ever happened like this before. It's just increased and increased. You got these kids that get out of school, they want to fight. And I remember specifically, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, a kid got off a school bus and pretty much fired a firearm and struck about 4 or 5 people through the bus windows as the bus drove off because he was mad at somebody else, another kid. Like, what's going on? Where's the deterrent? I understand you can't prevent everything from happening, but where's the deterrent? Where's the presence? Why are there not SEPTA police riding these buses to ensure that these people are safe, to ensure that these people at least are protected? I should see SEPTA police on buses on a daily basis, but I don't. The only time I've ever heard of them actually doing the SEPTA police riding on buses was a news article I saw some 6 months or so back when they really started pushing the fare enforcement. And you started seeing the SEPTA police on the buses standing. There's a spot on the bus where it's kind of hard to see when the bus pulls up. So as soon as the bus doors open and you get up, you step up on the little step there and you go to walk past the little machine, there was a SEPTA police officer standing right there looking you dead in your face. And then he didn't even say nothing. He just looked at you and then pointed at the machine like, okay, you gonna tap that? I don't see you with a card in your hand. I don't see you got your phone in your hand, but I don't see you walk that where you reaching to tap that thing. Oh, you ain't got it? Okay, I need you to step off the bus. I don't see that. But you see him on the L, though. You see him on the Broad Street line. I mean, it's rare you see him on the Broad Street line, but, you see him on the platform. Seats will be more, and that's usually because it's North Philly, and you got a bunch of kids running around there acting stupid. But I'm just saying that to say this. Priorities need to be in order. And I think public safety needs to be the highest among them. Before you can demand fare payment, before you can really enforce that, you might want to make the safety of your riding public a higher priority. I can understand if y'all had a targeted enforcement where y'all showed y'all presence on the train and on the platforms or at these SEPTA stations where you see these kids jumping up and down, fighting, screaming, yelling, cussing around old folks, spitting, smoking, acting like they ain't got no home training. And as soon as they see that uniform with that vest that says SEPTA police, they calm the hell down. I would think that they would be more apt to calm the hell down seeing that presence at the SEPTA stations, at the SEPTA bus stops, on these platforms, on these trains, than they would if they walked up to the point of sale and just, pass through and then get caught. Believe it or not, a lot of the issues that go on this SEPTA system are occurring on the actual ride, on the train itself, going through stations. You see these kids, and I've seen it myself, these kids will walk through the train car, no one stops them. They hitting the little help call button and then run into another car. Got to stop the train. Now the train's delayed because the driver got to get out and check the call button and see what's going on. Ain't nobody saying nothing, so they just getting mad because now they got to do it almost every other stop because the kids want to be goofballs. Kids riding in between the cars. I mean, we don't hear about the subway surfing like they do in New York, but still, it's annoying as hell when you sitting there and you hear that door fly open and 5, 6, 7, 8 kids come running through, yelling and screaming, hollering, cussing, and acting a fool. I would like to think that a SEPTA police officer being on these trains would actually deter some of that, would keep them from being all loud. I mean, I couldn't hear myself think last week, sitting on the L car, having to ride from station to station, listening to these kids talk all manner of foolishness, cussing, yelling, screaming, sexual innuendo and all that. These are kids. These are kids. And they just acted like they had no home training, like they wasn't afraid to have their conversations be reported to their parents. Like a neighbor wouldn't be sitting nearby and be like, yo, you better watch your mouth. You don't hear that no more because everybody afraid of getting shot. I'm just saying, something need to get their priorities in order. I understand the fair enforcement. I get it. But come on, y'all. If you're going to do this fair enforcement thing, okay. Make it to where the priority should be protecting your passengers. Make it to where you got Septa cops that get on these buses that stop these people from blasting these loud boom boxes and these loud speaker systems to where you got to hear Computer Love at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the way home from work. Make it to where you have these Septa police actually physically riding the train the full length of the Market Frankfurt line from Frankfurt to 69th Street Terminal, making sure that these people ain't doped up and doped out and falling all over people and leaning and making just the ride extremely uncomfortable. Make it to where you got these Septa cops on these trolleys, making sure that people ain't on there smoking, flashing guns on the back of the trolley, scaring and intimidating people and cussing and acting a fool. Make it to where they at these bus stops, preventing people from getting jumped and beat up because they just trying to be polite and standing by themselves and not in the way, and these kids just want to run up on people and jump them. Do that. It should be about public safety and protection. Not necessarily fair enforcement exclusively, but make it a well-rounded effort, Septa. We as a ridership deserve better. And I'm going to close out with this. We as a public that take and spend money, spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a year on your Septa system, we deserve better. We deserve safer transportation. We deserve clean transportation. We shouldn't have to walk over trash and needles and pipes and all this stuff that these dope fiends use. We should not have to deal with that. We should not have to feel uncomfortable riding on your trains, buses, and trolleys. We should not have to worry about buses skipping stops and just going, oh well, I'll catch the next one, when the next one doesn't run for another damn hour. We should not have to deal with that. We should not have to deal with rail cars that constantly break down on the regional rail line, where every day I get ready for work, I gotta worry if the train's gonna break and I gotta catch an Uber to work, spending $20, $30 now because the cost of ride share that went up so damn high. And then the nerve of the mayor to demand that they get taxed. Y'all gonna have us spending so much money, y'all gonna force us to have to take Septa with the latenesses and the trash and the violence. Y'all really gonna make us have to choose? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Fair enforcement? Cool. But make public safety and the safety of your riders a higher priority than demanding that we empty out our pockets for $2.90 damn cents. I am Laverne. This is the Davistar Experience. I hope you gained something from this. I'm sorry for having to rant for 30 minutes, but I just needed to get this out because not a lot of people are speaking out about it. You have people that are going on their social media and talking about it, but we need to talk about the whole issue because it ain't just about fair enforcement. It ain't just about the violence. It's about the violence, the dirtiness, the lateness of the trains, the subpar service. We need to talk about all of it. I am the Davistar Experience. Have a good day.